Hello, this is the news of Lisa Luciard internationally, and we want to continue to discuss the urgency of police Chauvin and Floyd right away and tell of the findings and the truths and for the reinstatement. Thank you so much. Let's begin. I'll show you. Here is the outcome of the trial that the judge says what he agreed with when police Chauvin was in trial.
A trial court judge, the job of a trial court judge is to apply the law to specific facts and to deal with individual cases. And so, Mr. Chauvin, as to count one, based on the verdict of the jury finding you guilty of unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony under Minnesota Statute 609.19 sub.
He did not look at all. This Judge Peter Cahill, even though he seems to mean well just by his words and his protocol and in the laws that he's going by. However, he did take consideration because in a case you bring out all the information, and all information could be used to apply the law, but they didn't bring about these informations regarding the health issues. And I have 15 counts against Floyd. And here is our beautiful man, Ben Shapiro, and also Elon and President Trump are also looking at to pardon police Chauvin. And I'll show you this information. As I told you, I am experienced medical practice for over 20 years and also critical thinker and law experience and also science and philosophy. So number one, here's the conclusions. Hence, by the scientific fact that the sole reason for Floyd's death caused by the restraint of his neck and back is false because he had enlarged heart. Symptoms of cardiomegaly, symptoms such as shortness of breath or raspy voice may occur. Did you see that? So therefore, police Chauvin restraining Floyd on his neck and back, lying flat, could have been the normal pressure that is appropriate. It is just that by fact, Floyd had an enlarged heart, and when lying flat, a person with an enlarged heart may have symptoms of cardiomegaly, symptoms such as shortness of breath. So he wasn't like a regular person, he had health issues, enlarged heart. Number two, he had the restraining of the neck and back is false in regards using that it was cause of Floyd's death. It's because he had COVID. Because he had COVID-19 that could have caused a ranging of asymptomatic infection to life-threatening respiratory failure, and he had that weeks before he died. Number three, hence by the scientific fact that the sole reason for Floyd's death caused by restraining of his neck and back is false because Floyd had heart disease. When a person has heart disease during stressful experience, it is known that the shortness of breath can be a serious cardiac symptom. Number four, hence by the scientific fact that the sole reason that Floyd's death caused by restraint of the neck and false because he used methamphetamines. And it causes cardiovascular disease, and because of the secret effects of methamphetamines on the vasoconstriction, pulmonary hypertension, and atherosclerotic plaque formation, cardiac arrhythmias, and cardiomyopathy, causing cardio dysfunction. There it is. That is cardiovascular issues again from methamphetamines. Then also another one is that hence by the scientific fact that the sole reason that Floyd's death caused by the restraint of his neck and back is false because Floyd had a history of drug abuse of fentanyl. It is known, now there's many contraindications that we're going to discuss of fentanyl of what the cause, fentanyl is a new drug, but it's potent death-threatening drug. Contraindications at the highest deaths of history of the respiratory depression and respiratory depression with immediate cause of shortness of breath within minutes. In just this past year, it was 24, 73,000 died from fentanyl. And it's a very serious, and those are Americans mostly, and I'm sure a handful of immigrants. but it's very, very bad. It's very bad. And fentanyl is a new drug, and fentanyl, our laws are not written up properly to the new type of drugs in the globalization and multiculturalism, in the way they disrespect police and also disrespect sometimes the citizens, but mostly I believe it's disrespect police. In anyways, this was in the United States, and they want to, and this was in a city, Minneapolis, where they wanted to defund the police, a democratic state. And I'm not saying police Chauvin is perfect, but I'm saying that we don't have laws written up that support the contraindications of fentanyl and also the new attitudes of culture, the way the people disrespect police. It took 3 people to try to get him in the car. It's too bad. I feel so terrible when I first wrote this. My name's Lisa Luciarden, that if he just would have gotten that car, okay, and then he wouldn't have been dead. But he didn't, and there was 3 police that tried to get him in. That's a very serious thing, and that alone would scare me, and I might even go over my regular training of what I was taught as a policeman, because I was under such danger of trying to protect my own life. This is very serious. Hence, the scientific death, the sole reason that Floyd's death caused by restraining of the neck is false, because carbon monoxide poisoning. I was shocked when I saw that it causes shortness of breath. It was he had carbon monoxide poisoning in his system. Are you listening? At the autopsy. And it causes the weakness of the heart. These are like increments. If you take these 15 things and all of these, how many are related to health itself? But when you add them up in increments, you could say 20, each is 20. It could be 100% of his death, even 80% of his death, of the purpose why. But these are all increments of health. If you ever did a titration report in science, everyone usually has to do that in science, the titration report. And once it turns acidic or base, you have to put drop by drop of the color of the acidic and base. Remember, we all had to do it. Many people did. It's called the titration report, and then it flattens off. It becomes acidic or it becomes basic, and it turns a color. But that's the same thing with all the dripping of all the big issues that he has with his health. It causes death because it adds up. It adds up. When you add things up, they become larger, and then they have a different outcome of what's at the present when you add them and put them together, and you put them in an environment that affects them even more. And that's what happened. So let's go on. Hence, by the scientific fact that the sole reason for Floyd's death caused by the restraining of his neck and back is false, because he had carbon monoxide poisoning, and the fact that it causes brain to struggle for sufficient levels of oxygen. Not only it has carbon monoxide poisoning, weakness of the heart tissues, and shortness of breath. It also has, the back is false because he had carbon monoxide poisoning, and that it causes brain to struggle for sufficient levels of oxygen. This is very, very serious. So hence, he was already in a position before he came into the contraindication, and with in his resist to arrest, with the physical force that police Chauvin put on him, his heart was already in position and system that he couldn't breathe. He had shortness of breath, and his organs were working well, and his heart, and mostly all these points are related to his heart. You have to go step by step. You have to look at it again. Hence, by the scientific fact, the sole reason for Floyd's death caused by the restraining of his neck and back is false, because he had hypertension that could cause severe health complications and increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, and sometimes death. He has hypertension also, okay? This is at the present time when police Chauvin put his knee on his neck. Hence, by the scientific fact that the sole reason that Floyd's death caused by restraining of the neck back is false, because he had COVID-19 that could cause, he reports and notes, because a positive result of coronavirus can persist for weeks after the disease has resolved. So there's two things, that it does cause respiratory problems, but it also could have contraindications after weeks that you realize that you've had it. Hence, by the scientific fact, the sole reason that Floyd's death caused by the straining of his neck is false, because he had fentanyl in his system that could cause him time. The time can be proved fatal, a drug that requires such extensive warnings that if unheeded leads to death. You could take it one time and you could die. And here's another thing with fentanyl. Hence, by the scientific fact that the sole reason for Floyd's death caused by the straining of his neck and back is false, because he had fentanyl in his system, could cause chronic respiratory depression if taken over a certain period of time. Did you see that? It's very serious. Hence, since Floyd had fentanyl in his system, it could have been by the fact that it caused him to have shortness of breath. When an individual has fentanyl in his system, it is known it causes a person to have trouble breathing or not getting enough oxygen. Also, the use of fentanyl, now listen to this, RLs are not written for fentanyl, they're written for heroin. Also, the use of fentanyl is 100 times more potent than heroin. And sometimes they find it mixed, and then it makes heroin stronger. But fentanyl is 100 times more potent than heroin. Consequently, the restraining on Floyd's neck and back should not be the sole cause of death because of the above facts of the use of fentanyl, causing respiratory depression, and 100 times potent than heroin can cause death unexpectedly.